My name is Gassia Mikaelian. I'm an anchor and reporter at KTVU Fox 2 News serving the San Francisco Bay Area. We're going to talk about how COVID-19 is affecting tourism in one of the prettiest parts of the California coast, and that is the Monterey Bay. So I welcome from the Monterey County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Rachel Dinbokowitz. Thank you for joining me, Rachel.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the impact COVID-19 has had on tourism in the Monterey Bay. What are you seeing right now?
Right now we did have recently some new restrictions put back on our county. So that just began actually yesterday. But up until that point, we had seen, a nice return to tourism to our area, throughout the county. Most of our hotels have been open and they will remain open. And we still do have a lot of great experiences that people can do. It's just we ultimately want to make sure that people are doing those things responsibly and safely by wearing masks and social distancing, following the CDC guidelines.
I know that many people were, planning grand vacations that probably involved airplane travel, and many people have decided not to get on airplanes. Are you seeing any sort of a benefit from the fact that people are willing to drive and perhaps drive a little longer to get to you?
Yeah, no, generally speaking, in any year that we have, we see about 70% of our tourists that come in are from the drive markets. And that's definitely increasing by far. Every research that we've seen is showing that people are actually going to extend that drive up to 8 hours. So we've been seeing people from Southern California all the way up into like the Bay Area and beyond that have been kind of coming in, and normal vacations probably have been canceled, and whether it's those return guests that love the area or people who are like, hey, I've never been to Monterey County, so let's go and explore that. We've been seeing a combination of those types of visitors.
I know initially when the shutdown was just going into effect, many tourist areas just thought, what are we going to do? Because we rely on people coming here, eating in our restaurants, staying in our hotels. Your agency, of some research that looked at, kind of how dire a financial picture it could be for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, when we initially went into this shelter in place mode, and obviously all of our businesses had to shut down and everybody had to stay inside, we did need to go and look and see like what could we project as a potential economic impact to our area. From some modeling that we did, we saw about a $500 million loss to our economy, which is a significant amount. So, we were very anxious to get everything up and running. So by June 12th, when that started, we were really happy and pleasantly surprised by the people who were coming through. And, most of those people have been traveling responsibly, which we greatly appreciate, as we want to keep our community safe, and as well as our travelers and our employees.
So we know that as of right now, the Monterey Bay Aquarium is not open. There are so many other wonderful things to do in Monterey Bay. I'm lucky to have visited a number of times. It is one of our annual trips. Give us kind of a hits list of what people can do if they go to Monterey Bay today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the two things that people typically come here for beyond the aquarium are our outdoor recreation and just the scenic beauty of Monterey County. So all of our outdoor spaces are clearly open and available. So people can still go biking and kayaking in the Monterey Bay. You can go hiking. We have 19 different parks throughout the county. Some of them are still not open completely, but there are trails, so we definitely recommend checking websites. But beaches, road trips, you can do 17-mile drive. You can do golfing in Pebble Beach. There's so many different really amazing experiences here that are still enjoyable. And even wine tasting is still going to be offered for their outdoor spaces, as well as any restaurants that have the outdoor space that then they can accommodate people. So there's still a lot of things that are available to people if they're traveling here.
I know that I go with my two little boys and my husband every year, and I would tell you, you guys have, is Dennis the Menace Park open?
That is not open yet, no.
Oh, okay. All right. It is a great playground for anyone who has children, and you let the little ones run and burn off their energy while you sit with your honey pie and have a little picnic. So I can't wait till Dennis the Menace Park is open. You guys have a great skate park as well. Is that open there on the Estero?
Most of the parks in Monterey are open. So the one that's not is Point Lobos. They still have not reopened, but everything else, for the most part, it has reopened where the trails are open. You can do, they recommend wearing face masks and doing the social distancing. But yeah, and Monterey Recreation Trail, that's one of my favorites in Monterey itself, because you can go biking on that. You can take the Surrey bikes as a family. And we have the rental facilities that have been offering those things, electric bikes, all that stuff, if you don't want to work out too hard.
Right. No, it's funny. We did rent a Surrey once, our little foursome, and it's kind of harder than it looks because, one person steers and the other two, it was kind of a comedy of errors, but it was, one of those things that we'll remember forever. We also rented kayaks, and
Yeah.
it just turned out to be a really lovely afternoon. And it sounds like kayak rentals are still happening.
Yeah, kayaks are still happening. You can do paddle boarding as well. And actually whale watching is up and running as well. So they do a different, every day, once a day, that they'll go out on the waters, and they've done their own safety precautions as well to make sure that people can enjoy that experience, because it's so amazing to get out and see the wildlife, especially, it's been untouched for so long with people having sheltered in place. It's been really beautiful.
Is now a good time for whale watching? I typically think of kind of the late winter, early spring months for that.
Yeah, for us, it's year round that you can see something. I think typically towards the late summer time into the fall, like you'll see maybe a little bit more of an uptick, but year round here, you'll see different types of whales and sea life. So.
Let's talk about staying in Monterey Bay. I know that there's a pretty big home rental market there. A lot of people own second homes. But, when I used to visit with my family when I was a child, we would stay at one of the many, many hotels. And those, for the most part, are open.
Yeah, I would say about 90% of our hotels have reopened since the shutdown. So there's definitely something for everybody, from bed and breakfast to, hotels that, the iconic ones like the Monterey Plaza, or, in Carmel Valley, we have some of our luxury resorts that are open and operating. So yeah, there's a variety of different hotels that have reopened and are available, and they've increased their safety procedures. We have some really great hotel properties, and they have all that stuff listed on their websites to make sure that people feel comfortable when they're checking in.
Is there any sense that perhaps locals are getting out and doing things that they might otherwise consider touristy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are definitely getting out and, like doing the hikes and going on a recreation trail, going down to Big Sur and experiencing, the beautiful wildlife down there. So yeah, there's definitely that. They're taking advantage of the amazing offerings in the destination, and that's something we're definitely encouraging as well, because one of the biggest things is we want to support our local businesses and keep them going and around for many years to come. So that's been a big marketing push for our organization as well, just to help keep supporting those local businesses and encouraging our locals kind of cover each other's backs.
Right. And I would imagine with some of, the big flashy options, such as the aquarium, off the table for now, people might be discovering sort of hidden gems around Monterey Bay that maybe they wouldn't have known about otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, even just walking around, like you notice new things that you haven't seen before. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that. And, one of the things we are encouraging also is like to go out and discover different parts of our county that they maybe haven't been to. Like maybe they haven't gone up to Moss Landing and done kayaking up there, which is one of the best estuaries in the state. Or, going into Salinas Valley on River Road Wine Trail and experiencing our amazing vineyards out there and doing some wine tasting. So.
Another thing I love to do is I try to hit like 2 or 3 farmers markets between Monterey and Pacific Grove. When we're there for a week, we just come home with baskets of fresh produce, lots of berries from Watsonville. What's the status of the farmers markets in the Monterey Bay area?
Yeah, so we do have a couple that are still operating. Our biggest one in Monterey is not at the moment, but Pacific Grove has one, and I believe one is open in Marina as well.
Okay, so is there one in Monterey at the Del Monte Market or no? Or the Del Monte Shopping Center or no?
There was. I'm not sure if that one's open at this point in time, but I know that the big one typically is on Alvarado Street, and that one has been closed.
Okay, well, can I just give a quick plug to the Pacific Grove Farmers Market? It's on Monday afternoons. The strawberries you will get there are better than any other, and at least from what we pay here in the Bay Area, they're much more reasonably priced, which is good, so we can support those farmers.
Absolutely, yes. No, agriculture is the number one driver for us here in Monterey County, and we do have the absolute best produce.
Yeah. So for anyone who's wondering, should I make it to Monterey, what's your best pitch to get people down to your region?
Oh gosh, I think, if you are just looking for an escape where it's a little bit calmer, beautiful. It's very much like a resort town. We're right on the water. You can have everything. I always say everything that you love about California can be found in Monterey County.
I love it. And I love Monterey County. Thank you so much for joining us. If people would like to learn more online, where's the best place they can find you?
Yeah, you can visit cmonterey.com.
Okay, cmonterey.com. Awesome. Well, I will see you at the Farmers Market in Pacific Grove on Monday. Thank you so much, Rachel, for joining me from the Monterey County Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and you can learn more about this anytime by visiting coronavirusnow.com.